Well, for me, it is a great honor to have you, Pastor.
Uh,
Not only your pastor, your father, a mentor to me.
um,
Wow, we know one each other since what, 13, 14 years. Well,
yeah,
a long time.
it's been a long time. Yes,
Long
sir.
time, yeah. We're still French. Like I say, everybody that's watching this video right now, I consider him as my father, a mentor. I mean, he's amazing.
Thank you. No, it as my wife always says, it's an honor and you make it easy to lead you. There's never been an issue that,
Yeah.
you're really, really easygoing and you're just an amazing, amazing, amazing leader. So I'm thankful and honored to be able for you to be able to even say that that I'm your leader. That really means a lot. Yes, sir.
No. Well,
Yeah.
Pastor, I brought you up here because of I know this actually. This is only one of them, boy. You have a lot of books in you and Valora. Um, the other day I did a video, a short video, and
Yeah.
actually it is on my my social media. Letters to a young leader. So when I talk to you today, and you you tell me, oh, let's make a video, let's do it. Letters to young leaders. I looked at it so far. I know he signed. Actually, he actually signed the book for me. So he actually signed the book for me. So far, some of the chapters, what I can see, I fell in love with this book. I haven't read it yet, but I say I'm gonna start reading it. But some of the chapters that you have up here, it really got my attention as a leader. Like the making of a leader, learn from mistake, the power of vision, building a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's um. Tell me a little bit about the book, Pat Pastor.
Well, I think the book really, and I think the reason you can identify with it is because as leaders, I really talk about the challenges and the things that we go through as leaders. One of the things that, as a matter of fact, it was really interesting because the cover of the book, as I'm writing on the book, was actually done at your studio. And
Yes,
so we taped the video for the book, and I wrote the cover. And so they put that on the cover. Those are actually my hands writing because I wanted it to, and that's my handwriting that is that it's on the front of the book. And I wanted it to be like that because I wanted people to know that this is really my life. These are letters and these are experiences. This is not just something that that I dreamed up or I thought about. These are things that we've actually gone through. So when you look at, like, for instance, chapter number 1, and chapter 1 starts to talk about that that we can't promote people on potential. And I go through the process of talking about a young leader when we initially started our ministry, that the leader was, he came in, I mean, he was so charismatic and so it just seemed like everything was so right. And then as time went on, we kind of found out that there were things that needed more development. And so I think that's the thing, that we never promote anybody on their potential. You always have to look at whether or not they can really hold the weight of ministry,
mm,
because ministry can really be challenging at
yeah,
times. I mean, it can be really exciting, it can be good, and it's rewarding, but at the same time, you're going to go through challenges in ministry. You're going to go through challenges in leadership of any sort, whether you're running a business or running a ministry or whatever you're doing. You're always going to have those challenges. And so I think it's so very important for us to look at how we navigate this leadership process. I mean, I talk about some amazing things in the book, and I'm very transparent because oftentimes we don't necessarily share our not so good things. We always want to share the highlight reel and the great things and the things we post on social media, but we don't always want to talk about the things that are negative or the things that the challenges we've had. But I think it's very important for us to do that, because I think that it gives. I wrote the book to my younger self, so if I had been writing to
really.
my 20-year-old self or my 30-year-old self, this book was written to that person who
Mm,
at that time may not have necessarily had the person who could guide them through those experiences. So I'm praying that somebody, as they read it, will look at the experiences that I had, and then they'll learn from it and not make the mistakes that I did in those various situations.
yeah. The book's actually is got 182 pages, right? Yep. When I kind of went through the book already, so far, to me, the way that I look at it, it is like a guideline too.
Yes, sir.
Um, especially in the ministry, business size. You use your experience, what you have learned in the ministry
Mm-hmm.
and business too, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think, I think one of the other chapters, it talks about, like you never I had a friend of mine, he said, never sacrifice your family on the altar of ministry.
Mm.
And that's some of the principles that we talk about there too. And you have to have a balance. And so whatever you're doing, you got to have balance. Now, of course, you're not going to have balance all the time. There's sometimes that you've got to do, you've got to make stuff happen, and it may not be so balanced. But I think at the same time, you've got to have some times of, refreshing, because you'll burn out. You'll burn out. You'll you just wear yourself out before you know it. You won't be good to anybody. And so I think that those are some of the things that I want to try to tell people that you can't do, because if you do that, you won't be good to anybody. Yeah.
How long you have been in the ministry? How many years?
Well, we have pastored the church that we're pastoring now for
Okay.
16 years.
Oh.
But the reality is, I'll tell you a funny story. So when I was about 8 years old, I was the assistant Sunday school superintendent of my church. Yeah, I was a small Baptist church in a little small town in Arkansas. But I would teach, and I would go up and I would lead the congregation in the Bible study and things of that nature. And so, always tell the story. When I got into the military, I kind of went my own way and did what I wanted to do. But the interesting thing is that the Bible tells us that if you raise a child up in the way they should go, that when they're old they won't depart. And so you'll always come back to your first love. And so I did. And then I, began to do ministry, and started to do that. And so we've, beside the 16 years that we've actively pastored the church, I've probably been in ministry probably about 10 years before that.
Mm.
And then same thing with my wife. So it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey. And I really wouldn't take anything from it. I think that every part of the journey has been important, essential, and I've learned from it and I've grown from it.
Ministry got you up and down like everybody else, right?
Oh yes. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's gonna have ups and downs. But the other thing is
Mhm.
is that there's a principle we learned from the three Hebrew boys, which is they came out not smelling like smoke, not looking like smoke. The Bible said that I don't think there wasn't a hair on them that was singed. And so I think that we have to be able to go through, and maybe when you initially start, you may sometimes look like what you're going through, but then as you mature in God and you mature in life and you mature in ministry, then people can't necessarily tell what you're going through. And I think that's a good thing, and I also think it's an injustice, because sometimes people may not necessarily think that pastors or leaders go through challenges and go through storms, and that's a fallacy. It's not the reality of life. You're going to go through challenges. You're going to go through storms, and at the end of it, you get stronger. You get tougher. I think my wife did a conference a few years ago, and it was oh God, it was we were talking about how you get stronger, you get bolder, you go through processes, but things that the enemy meant to kill you and destroy you, those things only make you stronger. They only make you wiser. Only make you better. Yeah.
So going through that, it will refine you as a leader. It will
Oh
shape you
yes.
up, right?
Yes.
Your mind, your soul, your spirit.
Yeah. I think, but I think that's what, but you got a little gray hair, and
Oh yeah,
I think that's where the gray hair comes from. I think the gray hair is wisdom. I think
yeah,
that as you go through processes,
yeah,
you learn wisdom, and you learn what things you can do and what things you shouldn't do. And then sometimes you learn how to do the things that you have to do. So I think all of that is a part of it. And as we grow on, we learn and we grow,
yeah.
and so I'm excited about, one point I'll tell you inside, joke. So one day I went to the barber shop, and when I went to this barbershop, it was not far from my house. And so they have this thing called Beijing. And so the guy, he puts this black, he tried to cover up the gray. And I had it in my hair. And when I ready to preach, the the stuff started coming out of my hair, and I laughed. I said, from then on, I said I'd never do that again, because you just have to be who you are.
Mm.
You can't hide wisdom. I think that's a key, that you can't hide wisdom. And so my thing is, hey, listen, I'm just gonna be who I am, and it's been beneficial, that you just navigate life, and you go through the process, and you learn and you grow, and it's all a process of learning and growing. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is not to give up in the process and just keep going. We always gonna have it up and down, but it doesn't mean that you put you in the spot and then kind of get you paralyzed, you gotta always gotta can go forward and just learn from those, make those better in the process. And
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yeah, yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. Which chapter have you read so far, and what did you get from it? What did you think about it?
Well, one thing what I like about each chapter, I'm gonna give you like chapter two, right? What I like at the end, how the develop that you did once you read, once you start reading it, like different section of the book, right at the end, it does give you discussion questions. It kind of asks you questions and the process, and that's one thing what I like it. Not only that, and right at the end, this is very clever. This is very smart. How you it does give you a prayer
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, every leader must have a prayer life.
Yes.
We've got to stay rooted and grounded in
Mm,
God and in what He's doing in our life. Because let me tell you, sometimes it may not always be easy, and it may not be the route that we want to go. For instance, I was talking the other day, and I was talking about how the Apostle Paul, there was a scenario in Acts chapter, I think it was Acts chapter 13, where Paul was with Barnabas were there,
mhm,
and they were getting ready to basically be deployed and be sent out by God. As they were standing there, the prophet Agabus comes up and he talks about how whoever's girdle this is going to be bound when he gets to Jerusalem. And so, although it was a bad situation and Paul knew what the end of it was going to be, he still had to go. And
mhm.
sometimes, as a leader, you've still got to do the hard things, although you know it's going to be painful, you know it's going to be a challenging process, but at the same time, it's still a part of your destiny and it's still a part of your mandate. And mandates aren't always easy. They're not always just gonna, it's just not gonna always be. I was laughing one day. My wife and I were talking about a teaching series that we were getting ready to do, and sometimes you talk about spiritual warfare, and like it just everything goes crazy. And
Yes.
so I said I'm going to talk about cupcakes, sprinkles, and ice cream. But the reality was, unfortunately, I couldn't talk about cupcakes, ice cream, and sprinkles because that just wasn't my mandate. And so sometimes you wanna take the easier way out of things, but unfortunately, you've got to be able to keep pushing, as you said, and persevere. You've got to develop grit. That's another principle or factor of leadership, that you've got to develop the kind of grit that allows you to understand and handle the pressure and keep pushing in the midst of it till you fulfill the assignment and the mandate that you have on your life. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow.
Yes.
It says it's so much easier just to give up in the process. And you know how many great leaders, beautiful people with so much potential in the process, and halfway they face something. Next thing you know, they just give up. I was like, I said, why? I mean, it's easy so to give up, but the biggest thing, just gotta keep going forward. And I think a book like this, or what you have put together, with different strategies, different ways you can communicate just by this writing that you did. To me, it's gonna be a great blessing. Not only because the title says appear letters to a young leaders, but listen, I'm 54.
Yes, sir.
But
And I'm 53.
I'm
Yeah.
53. I'm a year older than you,
Yeah.
but this is what's gonna shape us up in the process. And because, like we were saying earlier, we have our up and down, but doesn't mean because you're facing something you should quit. Don't quit. And it's not.
I was having a conversation today, and I was talking to a leader who finds himself or found himself in a situation where, from time to time you're going to
Mhm.
have those
Yeah.
small struggles. But, as I encouraged him to know that that process was actually making him. It's
Hmm.
like it's the same like diamonds. Diamonds are made under
Yeah.
pressure and time. And so that's how you're built. You look at pearls, they're made with pressure, darkness, and time. I think diamonds are made in darkness as well. And so it's the dark times, it's the pressure, the times when you don't know which way you're going to go, that usually will produce the best results in you. And again, sometimes we don't like that. It's kind of like It's like the olive. So the olive, in order for it to be brought into the manifestation of the
Mhm.
fullness of what it's called to be, it's got to be pressed. It's got to be squeezed. It's got to change. It's got to change form. And so by the time it's over, the olive doesn't look like what it initially looked like, but it still fulfilled its mandate and its assignment in the earth. So oftentimes we will not, I think that's another thing that we as leaders need to think about, that sometimes the way we looked when we started won't be the look that we won't have that same look at the end. That we'll go through a process, and that maturation process, that development process is, I think it's good for us, though. I think it's so good, and it builds in us the tenacity, the grit,
Mhm.
the strength, the wisdom, because there are things that I tell even the people that I lead. I'm not the pastor that I was when I first started. Nowadays, I have so much more wisdom and so much more understanding and so much more. God has given so much more strategy, and so much more now. And that's why we write books, because we want to give to the people that are coming after us
Yes.
the wisdom and the strategy and the understanding that we've had to go through, the hard times and the hard pressure and the hard understanding. But now we can give it to them, and they can learn from it, and really learn from it, without all they don't have the scarred knuckles, and they don't have the scarred hands. After years of working with your hands, you're gonna have scars. It's when, let me say this: the Apostle Paul talked about the scars. He talked about, scars in ministry. And sometimes, you're gonna have those scars, and they're gonna produce. They're gonna produce. But I was talking to this gentleman on last week. My wife and I were in Orlando for a meeting, and he said, "Listen, I can learn some stuff from you, and I don't have to go through what you went through. I can learn from you, and I can learn how to navigate different spaces in life because I listen to you, and I don't have to go through it myself." Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's amazing. That's
yeah,
that's great. You're right. And this is one of the reasons to write books, express yourself, kind of be able to support others. What is going to take them 20 years, you can reduce that time just using your own experience, write it, and then have people kind of go through it and read it.
wow. Now,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this. I usually get in trouble for things that I
Yeah,
do, but I hear that you're in the process of writing as well,
yeah.
and I'm excited about what you've written. I know you're excited about it. I know
No,
that
I'm excited.
I know you brought me here to talk about my book, but listen, I'm excited about your two books in English and in Spanish. So listen, that's amazing.
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
So I'm excited for that. No, actually, thank you for uh, company behind you and Valora. Yeah, so we're getting very close to launch those two books, and we decide to we are going to do it in Spanish. So
yeah.
yeah,
Listen, I'm excited. I am
yeah,
so excited
yeah,
because
and
people need more. I know there's millions of books that have been written
yeah,
on the subject of leadership, but there's a dimension of leadership that you've experienced, and there's
mhm,
a story that you can tell
yes,
that nobody else can tell the way you tell it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm excited for that because of actually when I got together and with you and then we talked about it and then what I have learned in the ministry and business. That's always going to be in the book, and be able to teach others and what I have learned for so many years in experience. So, yeah, we're going to have it in two books. Yeah, I'm
Wow.
excited.
Yeah. It's there's something amazing when you look at a book and you see your book on a shelf and you say, "Man, this is something that I've birthed." And so when you hold that, I'm gonna say, that baby in your hand for the
Hmm.
first time, it's gonna be a very, very amazing feeling just to be able to, and it is something also, in my opinion, that we can pass down.
Yes.
These books that
Yeah.
we've written, there'll be years from now, and our grandchildren will be able to look on the shelf and say, "Hey, Grandpa wrote that book." And when they read it, they'll be like, "Wow, Grandpa really, really did. He went through some amazing processes, and he learned some amazing stuff. And now I don't have to learn the same way I would have had to have learned had I not had this book." And so you're gonna leave a legacy to
Yeah.
generations of people who will read your books and be impacted by them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. And hopefully soon we're gonna release a date and leadership conference that we're gonna be doing too. And of course, under your leadership, thank you. I have learned so much in the whole process, and I feel very very humbled to be under your leadership for so many years.
Yes.
And then yeah, I think you need those you need those mentor in life. And so when you're facing something, hey, I'm going through this, how can you give me some support? And yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, it's always our honor
Yeah,
to lead and to do the things that God has birthed us to do. And again, as I said in the very beginning, you make it easy. You've always just been just so amazing and so many gifts and so many talents. And I've watched you just even build business. I watched you build business and ministry, and I often marvel at what God does through you. And I think that comes because you've got a pure heart, you've got clean hands. You've always wanted to do the work of God, and do your best to do it well. So I am always proud of what you've done and who you are, and looking forward to seeing much more. And I hope that I can inspire you. If I've written 41 books, hopefully you'll get to 100. And yeah,
oh, so
well,
far I want to have two in English, same books, but we get there.
yes, sir.
We're going to continue. This is just the beginning. Amazing things that the opportunity that God has given us, and then keep working together and be able to express ourselves, writing books, and other people with so much beautiful potential. Company. Let's talk about company, publishing company.
So the name of the company is Cole and Company Publishing House,
Okay.
and the website is www.colepublishinghouse. Uh, and so you can go there. Anybody can go there, complete the application, the questionnaire, basically that's there,
Okay.
and listen. We'll give you a call within the next 24 hours. We'll be giving you a call, and we can see many of you writing your book. So
Yes.
I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Matter of fact, if you go to my website, gonzalezpodcast.com, there's going to be a link to the publisher company that they own. If it is in your heart and you something is being inside of you, your mind, your soul, and you have the vision writing, give them a call. They will support you and guide you. Anything else that you want to?
No, the number, also I want to give the number. The
Yeah.
number is 1-844-937-2653. And you can call that number, and we're always there 9 to 5. And I just really believe that there are people that if you tell your story, somebody's going to be blessed as a result of it, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
I believe in that. Definitely for sure. Yeah, there's so much potential. Beautiful people that sometimes they just need guidance that kind of guide them a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, if that's you, go ahead and go into the website, give them a call, and then yeah, well, that anything else?
That's it.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, that's it. If they want to look at some of the other books we've written, you can always go to www.lajeanandvalora.com,
okay.
and that would be a great. I think it'll be a blessing because we've got books on leadership, business,
Yeah, I know you guys
entrepreneurship.
got different
We've
books.
got lots of different books that are there, and they would be able to tap into that. Yeah.
Yeah, and not only this, but the other books that you guys have, like the ministry, prophetic. Wow, over 40,
41.
41 books.
Yeah, and we got the number 42 should be coming out pretty soon. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So visit the website if it is in your heart. Follow the instructions, and then that excited. I call you dad. How's that?
Oh no.
Because I always, between me and you, I always call you dad because he's like I said, he has been to me as a father, mentor, pastor, leader, and then and I feel very humbled to be able to be part of under your leadership, and thank you so much what I have learned
Wow.
from you.
Yes, sir. Well, it's again, it's my honor, man. I love training. I love
Yeah,
developing. I love to impart to leaders what they need to get to their next level. And so again, man, when I first met you, I remember when we first met, like it was amazing. I remember when I came to your first shop, and I
yeah,
can't remember, I think it was on, I can't remember what road it was on, but and then we went to the second one, and then the third one, and then the
yeah,
fourth one, and I've seen each one of them, and I've seen you
yeah.
grow, and now
Thank you.
you're getting into the podcast space,
Yeah,
and listen, you're going to take all that experience
yeah,
that you took to build those multi-million dollar organizations, and now you're going to train other
yeah.
leaders to be able to operate and do it as well. So listen, I can't think of anyone who has become the epitome of a leader
Thank you.
as you are. And so even your podcast, just these live podcasts, and just the wisdom that you have. Again, I'm not going to say too much, but even your books, the wisdom. Listen, you've got.
Thank you.
I'm gonna start trouble, but he's got one book which he has this 7-step process for basically getting unstuck. And I
Yeah,
mean, it like it's this stuff is mind blowing. The stuff that you've
thank you.
written and the way that you've articulated it. I won't get into it too much, but they're gonna really love the material that you're gonna write and that you're gonna put out. And so yeah, I'm excited. That's all I got. Yes, sir.
Amen. Thank you. I very appreciate that. 'Cause I feel humble. Being on this dealership. Yeah. And we'll let you know when the book's going to be out very soon. So that's going to be in my website, gonzalezpodcast.com. Has two links for the ministry and on the company. Um, yeah, I'm excited.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Bless you.
Bless you.
Amen. Yeah, be blessed. Bye bye.